Welcome in to the Fit Parent Podcast. I am your host, Jeff. I'm here with Amy.
Hello.
And today we are going to dig into a few different things with kind of through the lens of this is friggin' hard, man.
Yeah.
That's my sentence of the day.
This is friggin' hard, man.
This is friggin' hard, man.
Yeah.
And having realistic expectations for the hard. So I want to go here, and then I'll tell a story, and then I'll kind of frame it back into what we want to do. I was chatting with a new client.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, we've gotten a few new people in recently, which is always lovely for me. I love working with my folks, my people, but it's always nice to get kind of nice new people who are the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking to me about how she's a relatively new mom, and I've heard this story several times, so I'll share this experience from our end as well as I've heard this in general. So relatively new mom and has been breastfeeding, and breastfeeding has been challenging. Right. And I think breastfeeding has been challenging for a lot of people. I will say, like my wife in particular, I think I've told the story that with Levi, our oldest, she wanted to breastfeed, and we tried for a very long time. Like she tried very hard. It was like several weeks, if not a month. Lactation control, but again, like peak COVID, like early 2020, like in-home lactation consultant stuff, like wasn't a thing, during that time. It was just it was some unfortunate circumstances where just her milk never came in. She just never really did it. Levi wasn't all about it either, so he didn't help he didn't hold up his end of the bargain, because it's
kind of a team effort there.
It's a team effort, and he didn't really hold up his end of the bargain. But it was really hard for her, and emotionally taxing, because there's this expectation on herself and this desire to do it, and really wanted to make it happen. And we eventually got to the point where we're like, okay, this just isn't, this isn't working. And the time that we're trying to spend doing this, every time we're doing it, it's like a reminder of the fact that it's not working. And so we had to kind of make the tough decision to be like, all right, we're going to pull away from this.
Yeah,
we're not going to do it. And we're going to go in this different direction. And I've had other clients who I've talked to, because again, like people are always like dumbfounded how much I know about a lot of this stuff. I'm like, listen, I've spent a lot of time coaching women, and so I know more about a lot of things than a lot of women and most men. And didn't necessarily think at one point that I would know as much as I do about pelvic floors and diastasis recti and breastfeeding and periods and ovulation and all of the things.
It's so beautiful. Women are just being a woman. It's just
incredible,
so
and also like overwhelming. And I said it to this person. I was like, you did a thing that half the population can't do, and if we were responsible for doing it, humans would cease to exist. Because I've had a cold this last week, and you would think that I'm dying.
Well, I talked to Meg. She's like, it's Jeff, so he's practically dead on the couch. I was like, yeah, that sounds like John too.
You know what? Like one day,
this was right.
One day was rough going. Like my head felt really heavy. It was a rough day. Like I wasn't like I'm dying. Like I was trying to do it, but like, didn't feel good. And there's only so much that you can do when you're.
Oh my God, it's miserable. Head colds. I don't know what it is about head colds. I can't function if I have a head cold.
Well, my brain just doesn't work. I'm like, I can't process what's happening. Like we were supposed to record on Tuesday, and it was like but I was like, I'm not going to be able to process anything. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in the middle of a sentence and just forget where I'm at. So yeah, like it's a challenging thing, and so a lot of clients will be like, breastfeeding was really hard for
Mhm.
a period of time, and then it got a little easier, and then maybe it got a little harder, but like there was a patch of time where, like Megan, they were having a hard time, but they were like, I I I can see it and I'm gonna push through.
Mhm.
And oftentimes there's a couple of differences where when should we push through
Mhm.
and when should we be like something's wrong. That's the tightrope that we walk with this. Like
Mhm.
when should we push through and when should we be like this isn't working.
Mhm.
And I see that a lot when it comes to the fitness side of things. People are like, nah, it's just, it doesn't feel like it's working, right? And we talked about this on a previous episode where people are like, they'll bail early or whatever it
Mhm.
is. And the question is, when is it not the right fit? When is it not the right plan versus when do I need to just have some perseverance to navigate through? And the answer is maddeningly, you probably need both. Like you probably need to go longer than you think you need to.
Mhm.
And at some point, maybe you need to be like, hey, it's not quite working. Like
Mhm.
let's not do the
To
definition of
reevaluate.
insanity where we just
Mhm.
keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And so part of the difference is usually if I have the commitment to myself of the end goal in mind, is that's the first indicator. So the person who's like, I'm hard committed to like breastfeeding is like gonna happen. Like I'm gonna make it happen. Um, Again, Megan really wanted to make it happen, um, but there wasn't the like I will make this happen or die trying sort of level, right?
Mhm.
And so when it gets to that point, it makes it a little bit easier to be like, all right, let me pivot away from this thing. Versus some other people that I've talked to who are like, I'm hard and fast on, and this is not a conversation about breastfeeding or whatever, but it's like, I'm hard and fast on this. I want to do it. This is what I'm going to do, no matter what. If we get into that mindset of like, okay, I'm pot committed to the process, right? Like I'm gonna breastfeed for a year, right? Whatever it is. Then it being hard for 3 months, it's hard, but we kind of burn the boats, to use that common analogy. Like we take quitting off the table and it's just be like, hey, we got to figure out different ways to get there, but like this is gonna happen. And so sometimes the idea of the commitment is the first hurdle, right? Like, am I going to do this for this period of time or am I not? Like, that's the first thing to ask is, are we actually committed to doing this? Or is it just something we think we want to do? And it's not to say that if you ever do make a pivot that you weren't committed to it, like Megan, right? But it's where people in their fitness journey oftentimes end up with the struggle is I can set my watch to it. Somewhere between weeks 4 and 7, working with me, people are going to hit to some level of a hurdle, a roadblock, a speed bump. Something's going to happen
Mhm.
during that period of time. And the novelty is going to have worn off. Motivation
Mhm.
is going to be gone. And
Mhm.
it's going to be a decision of, am I going to continue through this? And if we don't have the I'm pot committed to making this work, then we're going to take the easiest, comfortable, convenient, and feels good at the time exit ramp.
Mhm.
We're gonna just be like, nah, that's not gonna work. This isn't working for me. It's something wrong with the process, or it's just not the right thing, or not the right time, or whatever it is. Okay. Versus if we're like, I'm going to be on a fitness journey for, I mean, really forever, but like if it's like, hey, I want to lose 30 pounds, it's like, this is going to take me a year.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is this is the next year of my life. And life is gonna life over the next year of my life, right? Like I'm going to we were talking before we hit record, Amy's gotta be out of her house for the next 2 months because they're doing a
Mm-hmm.
renovation.
Yep.
Right?
Can't wait.
We summertime happens, or people have surgery, or you lose a loved one, or like
Right. Things are
or
always going to
jobs
come up.
change. Like things are always going to come up, but it's like this is my next year. So when it's hard,
Mm-hmm.
my question is not am I going to continue to do it or am I not? The question is what is reasonable for me to do in this moment, and
Mm-hmm.
is this an indicator of like, hey, it's just getting hard, or I need to change the plan a little bit? That's the question. So again, this mom that I was talking about, first 3 months were really hard for her, but she was like, hey, I kind of had to push through. And so when we were talking about like, hey, how long, what are we going to do? Talking about a year working together. And she was like, oh, that's a long time. And I'm like, well, yes. And at the same time, like what made it easier for you to get through those first 3 months when it was really hard? It was the fact that you were committed to doing it for the year. And so when you commit to the timeline, when you commit to the process, then it's like, okay, I might have to navigate within this, but I'm not quitting. I'm not stopping. I'm not yielding just because it gets hard, because it's going to get hard. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's that idea of like let's commit to the process versus just do it if it feels good. So now I'm going to get into what might feel a little bit like a story that's a little odd, but it's just top of mind for me right now. And I've committed to people who listen to kind of try to be as honest and vulnerable or whatever it is, and just be like, hey, like we all kind of struggle. And I've admitted several times on this podcast that like I don't have it all together, right? Listen to the one from the mess, like do
Mm-hmm.
not like I'm in it with you. And so I'm going to share this story because it's top of mind, but I do think that it's related, which is um our younger son Parker is I would say our most volatile kid, in that his peaks, like peak Parker is peak child. Like his best, like his like happiest, like snuggly what like peak Parker is he has the highest highs
Mm-hmm.
of every kid. Like
Mm-hmm.
just the sweetest moments and everything like that. And his hards are harder than either of our other kids. And because he has those that big of a range, he also like pops back and forth between them more frequently than the average bear, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
he is just, and so he has been particularly, and we're trying to figure out why that is. And because particularly the last couple of weeks have been particularly challenging. Like we've been in a stretch of that hard. And
Mm-hmm.
it's hard because 4 weeks ago I remember looking at Megan and being like, man, I feel like he's been doing really well lately. Like, he still has his moments, but they feel more like normal toddler hard
Mm-hmm.
moments, not like what is happening,
Mm-hmm.
and there might be people who will listen who might be familiar with this, but there's a concept called like deeply feeling kids,
Mm-hmm.
from Dr. Becky, which is very much our son to a T. Like he just experiences emotion like at an alarming level, both high and low, which is why we get those things. And we're trying to figure out what is going on kind of underneath that. And there are times where we look at it and we're like, okay, this is just a hard time. Like we just kind of keep doing what we're doing. And then we have times like this where we're like, okay, keep on doing what we're doing isn't it. Like we're not in a spot right now where I feel okay just being like, we just have to endure through this. Like we have to figure out something different because what we're doing isn't working. And
Mm-hmm.
I think Megan and I are both experiencing this in different ways. Um, there's some stuff with like preferred parent that a lot of people will have experienced, where she is
Yep.
preferred parent, and so that weighs on
Yep.
both parents differently, right? It weighs on her because she kind of has to catch a lot of that, and it weighs on me because I have the feeling of like not being wanted, and it's literally said to me, and it's hard to hear from your kid in the middle of a tantrum multiple times over, I don't want you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, go away. Like, that's a hard, it's been a hard thing for me
Yeah, of course it
to deal
is.
with, to feel like
Yeah.
I can't help my kid. Like, I can't
Mm-hmm.
help my kid, and I can't help my wife in this circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to wrestle with, is this just a hard that I have to wear? Is this just a hard that I need to persevere with? Is this just a hard that I need to be like, this is just part of it? And it's just, I need to kind of keep pushing through? Or is this a hard that's an indicator of maybe it's not, we're not quite doing everything we can be, or something's not quite right? Like, this is a
Mm-hmm.
canary in a coal mine sort of situation, and I need to take this as feedback. And that's been really difficult because you want to be like positive and optimistic, and not just be like, you know, hyperbolic with it, or negative, or only seeing the whatever, the, only seeing the hard. And it does feel, from a tension standpoint, it does feel like in some ways that we've fallen short. I've fallen short, but I think Megan would say, and I will speak for me though, for sure. I feel that I have fallen short in some ways, and I can't really put my finger on what it is for the ways that I have. And I think I can still look at it and see some things that I've done well.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, because that's my indicator though. So that's kind of the turning point for, is something wrong plan wise, or do I just need to persevere? And so that's been my indicator, which was, it was, and I'll tell the specific story. So it was 2 nights ago, was my night to put the twins to bed. Right, we kind of take turns doing it. Megan did the night before; it was my turn, and we were, and all of our kids, universally, everybody wants mommy to do bedtime. She just, everybody wants mommy to do bedtime, and so I've had to kind of, the thing that I've had to deal with, like, all right, I just need to wear this, is when they ask who's putting me to bed and we say mommy, they're going to cheer. When they say daddy, they're going to be like, no, I want mommy, which is
Aw.
like, that
Yeah.
that stings. That's
It's a
hard. I don't
it's a
love
direct
that.
knife to the heart. Yeah.
Um, and I've had to kind of look internally on that, but I'm like, I do bedtime well. Like, it's just, mommy does bedtime differently,
Different. Mm-hmm.
and they want mommy. And so that's just something that, like, that's just a hard that I have to eat. Right. Like, I think that, if I look at, but so we were prepping him for it. And then on 2 nights ago was my night, and we're like, hey, it's daddy's doing bedtime. And we're like, hey, after this episode of Bluey, we're going upstairs and we're going to do bedtime. And then when we say, okay, it's time, he, like, he lost his mind. Like anybody who's seen a toddler tantrum, like, take that to, its most extreme version, right?
Mm.
Like, kind of clinging to her, like, please, like, almost like I was
Don't do this
abducting
to
him sort
me.
of situation. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
don't let me
Yeah.
go with this man, like I
Yeah.
was a stranger or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's so hard.
and that was really difficult. But again, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is hard. Like, I have to, whatever. And I get him upstairs, and he's still losing it, and he's still screaming his head off. And I just kind of like, this was the moment though where I was like, okay, something's wrong. I I did about as well as anybody could have done in that circumstance. Like, honestly, I was incredibly proud of myself. Like, stayed super calm. I just was there. He kept screaming, and I was just like, I'm not going to physically whatever. I'm just like, kept on saying the same things over and over. I'm like, I know you miss mommy, and I affirmed his feelings. And at the same time, I was like, and mommy can't come in. Daddy's doing bedtime. I need to do this. Do you want me? I give him choices, like all the things that if you were like laundry, people would say to me like, hey, did you try this? And I'm like, did it all. And
Sure
honestly,
did.
stayed
Mm-hmm.
stayed super calm with it, like neutral, And eventually he just like, eventually it was 20, 25 minutes like of him just like losing it. And that was the moment when I left there was, okay, I did it about as well as I could have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like honestly couldn't have done it a lot better than that, and it still wasn't there. So that to me is, we need a different tool in the toolbox, right? Either
Mm-hmm.
I need different skills, I need a different strategy, I need a different plan, or I need to understand what's going on with him so that I can have a different plan, right? Like I need to do something differently than I just did, because I did everything that I know to do and I did it as well as I could have done it, and it didn't make a dang bit of difference. That's the indicator that, okay, the plan isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
That's the like that is your measuring stick for, I need to make an adjustment. When you can do the John Wooden definition of success that we've talked about on the podcast, but I'll remind the audience of, John Wooden, winningest coach in college men's college basketball history, won 11 national championships, wrote a book, or had a thing called the Pyramid of Success, which is used across corporate America all over the world. Wrote a book about it, all this kind of stuff. And so there's his definition of success is, it's the self-satisfaction of knowing that you did the best that you were capable of doing to become the best that you're capable of becoming. Right? It's basically, you did the best you could
Mm-hmm.
within what you're capable of doing. You did the best with what was on the table, right? With what you had. You left it all out on the field, right? You left
Mm-hmm.
it all out on the floor. You did everything you could do, and you can feel satisfied that you did the best that you're capable of doing. That was it, right? I was like, given what I've got, that's the best that I can do, right? And so again, I could do this from, from a preparation. You can do this in any circumstance, right? Like, hey, I'm going to go give a presentation somewhere. It's like, all right, did I practice it as best I could? Did I research it? Did I like run through my slides with other people? Did I have other people do it? Like, did I record myself? And did I do everything that I could do to show up and do it? Right. And then I still might show up and do it and be like, that didn't quite hit. But if I do all of that and it didn't quite hit, that means that I just don't have what it takes currently to make that successful. So I need a different strategy, right? It would be like you trying to sell a house at this point versus with 10 years experience. It's like, at some point, like, it's different. It's a different animal. And so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I did the best, and you can look back on probably your first deal versus your most recent deal, and you'd be like, sheesh. But like
Very different. Yeah. Yeah.
at the time, I did the best that I could do with what I had available to me versus not. And so if I don't close, right, as a for instance, with that, it's like, I did the best that I could. I just didn't have the requisite skills to be able to push this deal through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then what's the takeaway? I need a different plan. I needed more skills. And we did this an episode or two ago where we were talking about consistency versus effectiveness
Mm-hmm.
and getting the feedback from that. But this is kind of through the lens of, do I need to pivot? It's, can you honestly look yourself in the mirror and say, I did the best that I am capable of doing for an extended period of time, given what I have available to me to do the plan that we have? And then did I see any sort of progress on it? Because if at that point I've done all that I'm capable of doing and it's not moving the needle, then I need a different plan. And then at that point, holding on to, I just need to try harder or do more or be more consistent or whatever it is, that's going to be when you start to feel like, this is like, I'm doomed to failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is when we expect failure because it's all we've ever experienced. We expect failure because it's all we've ever experienced. So why would we expect anything differently? And so this is, we create that narrative in our head. And I've heard this so many times, particularly from moms, particularly from postpartum moms, like, maybe I'm just not meant to lose weight, right? Maybe I'm just not meant to be successful. Maybe I am the exception to the rule. Maybe I'm the one for whom this isn't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to tell you that you are not. You are not the exception to the rule. You are, it is 100% possible for you to do it. You just might not have the right plan. And the problem for most folks is that they give up when the first plan doesn't work. Some folks don't even go all the way through on the first plan and haven't given it that point where they can look in the mirror and be like, I did everything that I possibly could. That was what we talked about on the last episode, is like, you didn't really give it a shot. So I don't know what you want me to do. But if you have, and that first plan doesn't work, that doesn't mean that you're not like, it's not a problem with you. It's a problem with the plan for your life, right? Given the circumstances. And so we need a different avenue to do it. So we'll bring it back to breastfeeding for a moment, right? If Megan, right, she did everything that she could possibly do given the circumstances. Given the circumstances. Had it not been April of 2020, and there had been different circumstances, it's entirely possible that maybe it goes a little bit differently. If we were able to have in-home lactation consultants, if Levi doesn't, like if the whole process of his birth goes a little bit differently, and we're able to have other people come over who could, like, who are moms who've breastfed, who could be like, hey, have you tried this or whatever it is, like.
Well, and stress, for me at least, stress always had an impact on my supply.
Stress was huge. Like, it was incredibly stressful and incredibly, like there was all of that happening, which made it harder. And so, but given the circumstances, she did basically everything that she could do. And so then we have to look at the plan, which is, all right, do we actually want this thing or not, or do we pivot? But until we've done everything that we could possibly do, then changing the plan doesn't make a lot of sense, because we don't know if we're changing. It's like, this is going to be a silly analogy, but you'll appreciate it. You ever been in traffic on a highway and your lane is standing still?
Ours is the only lane that ever isn't moving.
And then you change into the other lane, and then that one stands still, and the one that you're in starts moving. Like, and then you go back and
it's got to be me.
You're like, it's got to be me. And it's like, no, you just changed before you gave this a shot. You changed before you gave it a shot. And so I think a lot of it is that people just don't have the perspective on it of, like, failure is inevitable. Like, we will fail, and that's part of the process, because at some point we are going to come to the end of our ability to do the thing, and then we have to change. And the change is part of the growth. Like, I do this all the time with people in business, which is the thing that gets you to a certain point of revenue, whatever, call it 5 or 6K a month, is not going to be the same thing that gets you to 10 or 12K a month, which is not the same thing that gets you to 20 or 30K a month, which is not the same thing at 50. And there's different thresholds. And so if you keep doing the same thing and you're like, I don't know why it's not working anymore, because the strategies that I implemented 2 nights ago with Parker at one point worked. And now they're not. So that's an indicator that something has shifted. And so I need a new plan for the changing landscape. I was talking with a former client, it was so awesome for me. So I had a client who I worked with for 12 weeks, and she lost 10 or 12 pounds during that period of time, which was fantastic.
Wonderful.
But every single time I check in with her, every 2 or 3 months, I'll check in with her. Hey, how's it going? She's like, oh my gosh, like, that program changed my life. Like, I'm still so consistent with my workouts, and I'm still doing great with my nutrition, and I'm rock and rolling. And this is, like, my favorite thing as a coach, right? Like, this is the dad who, like, I did a good enough job that you feel good to go off on your own, and I miss you. Like, I like working with you, and I like being around, but at the same time, like, my goal is to work myself out of a job where, like, I'm not needed anymore. Like, that I'm always here, but I'm not needed anymore. And so she's, it's a couple years later, and she's down 35 pounds, and, like, she's lost more weight. She's lost more weight since we worked together than when we were working together. Now, again, 10 pounds in 12 weeks is fantastic, right? Like, that's about as good as you could hope for. And then the time frame since then, she's continued to do great with it, and she feels great. And, like, I remember there was a pair of goal shorts that she wanted to wear, and she fit into them by the end of our 12 weeks. And now she's like, those are too big on me, Jeff. And I'm like, what a day, what a time. You know what I mean? So fantastic. And we hopped on a call to chat, because she was like, I lost like 10 pounds or so. And I've been kind of stuck here for 4 or 5 months. And we were just chatting about it. I was like, yeah, love that you've gotten here, but like the last little bit, what got you here isn't necessarily going to get you there. And so this is the question. There's two things that are the question. One, how committed are you to the last 10 pounds? Because you're going to have to do something differently in order to get there. So are you pot committed to getting there? Like, is it worth the cost for you? Because it's going to be hard because we're going to have to shift the plan. Because what you've been doing, like you look yourself in the mirror and you're like, I'm doing it about as well as I could be doing it, and the thing isn't moving. So I clearly need to do something different. Okay, so we need a different plan. The new plan is going to be harder. Are you cool with the fact that it's going to be harder? And it's more of, is the upside worth the cost, right?
Right.
So if we're thinking about my son, for instance, right? That's not even a question, right? Like, yeah, this is going to be hard. Like, this is going to require us to do something different than we have done in the past. That we're going to, obviously, there's going to probably be challenges in the process of figuring stuff out. There might be appointments and all of these kinds of things that we have to figure out. We got to talk to a bunch of people, and we have to try to do things that are not necessarily comfortable or convenient for us. Are we committed to doing that? Because yeah,
Heck yes.
no doubt. But the commitment comes first. Then I check with myself in the mirror. Am I doing the best that I'm capable of doing given what I have available to me? Recheck my commitment because the plan's going to need to change. The plan's going to need to change. Like, I have to be willing now to do something different. But there's two things that would, like, it would have been, I think irresponsible is too strong of a word. I think it would have been too early to try to make a pivot on some of the things that we were doing 2 months ago, because we were seeing movement, we were seeing progress. Now, was it happening? Maybe was it all the way there? Was he flawless and never having issues? Of course not. But like, was it relatively, moving in the right direction? Of course it was. And so then it's like, let's not only focus on what we don't have, but let's focus on what has been going. But at some point, we have to be honest with ourselves about, like, this isn't moving.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't moving. And so I think that what I've seen too much of, and again, I have done it. I've done it within my business. I've done it with my fitness. I've done it with a lot of different things, is that we stay too committed to a failing process too long, or we don't give something, we think that a process is failing when we haven't given it enough runway to be successful. And the hardest part is being honest enough with ourselves to know which one of those it is. Because there's nobody who can tell you otherwise. I can't tell you. If you're my client, I can't tell you whether, like, I can probably guess, but I can't tell you if you've given it everything you've had. I've said this for a long time to clients, and I think I probably said it on here too. I can never want this more than you do. I will always believe in you more than you do, but I can never want this more than you do. And so the idea of you being honest with yourself is really about, how are you willing to humble yourself to the point of brutal honesty because you want it enough? Or are you going to stay in the place where you try to protect your own feelings?
Right. You let your pride get in the way.
And your pride get in the way. Because I'll say it from my experience with this. There is a raging part of me that wants to be like, I'm freaking doing it, man. Like, this kid,
Best I can.
like, I'm doing the best I can. Like, this kid, like, it's, we've talked about, like, we want to blame outside because it's uncomfortable to point it back. Right. And I told you, I said this, I think on the most recent episode that we recorded, that I have been going to therapy and I'm working very, very hard to have the conversation be about me.
It's so when you first start. It feels unnatural.
But like, again, I can't, like, it doesn't do me any good. Like, I can provide context for what happened, but it doesn't do me any good to just be like, this is like, this person did this and that person did this and all this kind of, like, it doesn't do me any good to do that, because I can't fix what they're doing. I can only change what I'm doing. I can only develop how I'm approaching it. That's all I can do. And I can share how I'm feeling and I can talk through what's going on with me, but like, it doesn't do me any good to be like, my kid just is too volatile. Like, he's got too many feelings, as if that's his fault.
Yeah, right. My kid is the problem.
No. We have to be willing to look at ourselves in the mirror and ask, did I do everything I possibly could do in that situation? And have the answer be no, and be like, it was me. Like, I'm not sure that would have fixed it, but I can't say that I did it all. I can't say. And that's the thing that I think lingers with people after the fact, because then you're like, hey, it's not working, and you kind of know in your head that you didn't do everything that you could, but you let it be somebody else's fault and you quit, you give up, but you know deep down, you're like, I didn't give it my all. And that gnaws. I've seen this happen so many times where people throw in the towel because they're like, this isn't the right fit, or it wasn't whatever. But they know they didn't do everything that they needed to do. And so it's a matter of like, it's hard, man. Like, it's gonna be hard. So one, expect the hard, steer into the hard, embrace the hard, recognize that because it's hard is why you're getting there. Until it's hard, you're not going to get there. Like, the comfort is the enemy of growth. When I have so many clients who get to the point where they're like, oh man, I'm just feeling really solid. I'm like, the point, like, think about exercise for a moment. How do you get stronger?
You increase your weight. You increase your reps,
because at some point,
you make
the thing,
harder.
You have to keep making it harder. Just because you leveled up in the previous thing that was hard is now easy, that means that you grew. But the way that you continue to grow is you continue to push yourself to do things that are harder. You progressive overload your life. Like, you have to make things incrementally harder. The fact that it's hard is a sign that, like, you're there. Now, is it too hard?
Right, there's a balance.
That's the question. If the way that you know if it's too hard is I did my best and I couldn't do it. Like, think about a lift, right? Like, if I put 345 pounds on the bench press and tried to lift it, I would give it my all and that thing would not move. That's not a matter of, I gotta try harder.
It would just move down.
It would just gravity would do it, right? Like, it would not. I don't have, right? Again, I don't have the requisite ability to move this. So I need a different plan. I need a different strategy. I need something that I can do. Because right now I'm trying to do something that's impossible for me. But until I give it a shot, I can't know. Or I can look at my history and extrapolate a little bit and be like, all right, I have not touched anywhere close to that. It's probably not going to happen. So let's not do something foolish. But I have to be willing to be honest that, hey, is it me? Because it's supposed to be hard. And so do we have the grit to go through the hard? Because I talk about this on the podcast all the time. I talk about with clients all the time. Like, you have to have grace for yourself. Like, if you're beating yourself up about it all the time, like, you're never going to see the progress that you're hoping for. Right? When my 3-year-old is screaming in my face, I don't want you, like, that activates something in you. Like, that's hard. That's a hard thing. And so I have to give myself grace that I'm never going to handle that situation perfectly, because I'm a person too. And I have feelings too, and it's going to be hard to navigate that. Like, that's going to be hard. And at the same time, if I just wave my hand at every time that I fall short of doing what I know I'm capable of doing, then I'm going to stay exactly where I am. Like, if I just give myself grace constantly and continuously for the ways that I'm falling short, I am doomed to stay exactly there. I have to be willing to have the grit, to develop the grit to do it when it's hard, to fight through it and be like, you know what? I think I got a little bit more. I think I could do that a little bit better. I think I have a little bit more in me. Like, I didn't empty the tank. I didn't leave it all out on the floor. I gotta give it a little bit more. I gotta try. I gotta give it a little bit more. And it's not just I gotta try a little bit harder. It's that I gotta not give up so easily. I gotta not yield when it's hard. I gotta find a better system. I gotta try something different. I gotta not just stay exactly where I am and be like, that's fine. The plan isn't right. I have to have the grit to be like, you know what? Let's persevere. Let's persevere. This is meant to be hard. This is meant to be hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. One of my favorite phrases is parenting is only hard for good parents.
I love that saying.
Like, it's meant to be hard. If it was easy, there wouldn't be kids out there where you're like, you're a disaster, right? Like, how do I
a rough life.
This is my indicator, right? Like, this is my moment, is that my son Parker, and all my kids are this way. My son Parker is in preschool. Every time I go pick him up, they're like, he's our favorite. Like, we're not supposed to play favorites. He's our favorite. Like, we love, he's great outside of the house with other people, like peak Parker. And we get the hard. It's like, yeah, okay.
Because you're his safety zone. I had students that were like that all the time. They held it together during the school day. They would go home, and that's when they felt that they could release anything they've been holding on to all day. It's exhausting.
Yeah. And so then we get the hard. That's the point. We have worked hard to create the safe space where he feels like he can be himself. And so I have to be like, you know what? The fact that he's screaming in my face, I don't want you, to some degree is a positive indicator.
Right, because I've done a really freaking good job of letting him know
him know that he's safe, and I'm not going, like, he's not going to scare me with his feelings. But that doesn't mean it's not hard.
Right, it doesn't mean it
doesn't mean it's not difficult. It doesn't mean it doesn't.
Yeah.
Just because, right? Like, in order for me to get to a certain place with my fitness or my nutrition or whatever it is that I'm trying to do with my business, things like that, like, it's gonna be hard. And the minute we expect it to be easy is when we fail. The minute we expect that just, the plan should just work. Like, no, it only works if you work. It only works if you have grit and perseverance and are willing to fight. Because you're committed to doing the thing. Because you're committed to doing the thing. I'm gonna be here for a year. I'm going to do this forever. I'm going to parent this kid as long as we're both on this earth. So I got to figure it out, right? I'm going to take care of my body as long as I'm on this earth. Like, I'll quit when I'm dead. So I got to figure it out. We don't have the luxury of, try to say this in the way that I mean it. We don't have the luxury of abdicating the responsibility for the things that we want in our life. We can get help, but at the end of the day, the responsibility is ours. At the end of the day, my son and his ability to deal with these things and my ability to process, that's on me. It's on me. It's on Megan. But, like, way that, like, I'm, as a husband, father, like, feel responsibility to lead our family in the direction that it's meant to go. Like, at the end of the day, the buck stops with me. Like, I have to do it. At the end of the day, my fitness and nutrition and whatever, the buck stops with me. And I might think about something with, my business, buck stops with me. Like, I have people who work for me. I have things that happen. At the end of the day, it's me. So if it's not working, and we've given it our all, need a different plan.
Truly giving it your all.
Truly giving it your all. But you have to be willing to look in the mirror and be like, did I do everything that I'm capable of doing to execute on this? If I'm not, if I haven't, then that's where I go back to. I need grit. I need grit. And oftentimes I need help. And oftentimes the help needs to be in one of two or both things. I need a better system so that I can do it, and or I need somebody to hold me to it. I need somebody to hold me to the standard that I set to myself. I need to keep the promises I make to myself. I don't know, and this is saying I'm not super connected right now, so I'm not 100% sure if this is coming through, but I don't know if this resonated. But again, I have said for a long time that when I come on here and we do this, it's going to be kind of what is fresh for me, both from my experiences and the conversations I'm having with clients. And this to me has felt like the theme for the week, which is,
I think it resonated with me particularly.
we need to figure out. Yeah. Was there anything in particular?
I was having a conversation with John last night. I mean, my fitness goals have changed, which is good. It's a positive thing, but it has made my body shape kind of different. So I was having an emotional conversation with John last night because I was trying to look for like a nice outfit to wear, and I was like, nothing fits me anymore because my upper back and shoulders have gotten broader, so I don't fit in a lot of my dressy from when I was teaching and was doing Weight Watchers and keto and all those things that like were designed just to shrink my body but not to build any muscle. So we were talking about this whole like, he's like, I'm like, my fitness is dialed in. And he's like, but your nutrition isn't. I was like, it's as good as it can be. And he's like, but is it? I'm like, damn it, no. So I think I needed to hear this today. It's like, am I being honest with myself?
Yeah. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to like say because we want to like.
It's so hard.
We want to like, it's an uncomfortable thing where it's like, it's my fault. And so, and again, I'll say like yesterday morning, he had a similar thing. I did not nail it. I didn't like blow it, but like there were a couple of things in there where I was like, that wasn't great. And so it's hard for me to be like, and again, it wasn't like, oh, that was really bad. It was just like, oh, I could have done that better. All of those kinds of things. And we're going to have those. Like, we're going to have those. And again, there's grace for those things. But if I keep doing the same things, then that's insanity. So I have to be willing to look in the mirror and be like, am I honest with myself? Is this actually, would this move the needle? Is this like, with what I'm doing, should I reasonably expect anything to be different? Okay. Do I actually want it different? Am I committed to that? Okay. Then let me do so much effort into finding a way to make the skills that I have and the knowledge that I have, let me do that to the best of my ability. And I need to figure out a different plan, a different system. Let me try a bunch of different stuff because I know what I ought to do. Why am I not doing it? Let me then try to the best of my ability to do the thing with better systems, better accountability, whatever it is. And then if I've done it to the best of my ability and it's still not working, then I go, all right, then it's not the right plan for me. Then I pivot. I need more skills. I need a better strategy. I need something different. But we keep chasing the next thing, and that's social media. That's the internet. That's interest. What's the next thing? The next thing, the next thing. Do this thing first. Do one thing well. And I have clients who we set a target for the week or a couple of weeks, and I'm like, hey, this is your main focus. And then we get to the end of that period of time, and it's like, hey, we hit that 9 out of 14 days. They're like, okay, what's the next thing? I'm like, we're gonna do that.
Keep doing that.
We're gonna do that until we nail it. So what is it that we need to do in order to nail that? Because like adding another thing or changing it or whatever it is doesn't do us any good until we've for sure figured out, is this enough? And if it's not, then we make a change. But it's hard, guys. It's friggin' hard. It's meant to be hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. If it was easy, everybody would be billionaires and have 6-packs and have perfectly behaved kids. But it's not. So embrace the hard. Recognize that the hard is an indication that you're growing, and stop trying to chase the time when it's not, because there's always going to be that next thing. If it resonated, I don't know if it did, but if it did, if it resonated with you, would always love to hear from you. Like I love knowing who's listening. I love knowing, if things hit or whatever, particularly when we kind of do something a little bit off the traditional path or whatever it is, kind of like today. Um, so if it did, I'd love to hear from you. You can shoot me a message or an email. Shoot me a message on Instagram at Jeff Delzell Fitness, or send me an email, jeff@jeffdelzellfitness.com. Appreciate you listening. Like, rate, subscribe, share it with a friend if maybe you think it might hit with them too. And again, if you are in a spot where you are looking for some help to navigate through it, if you're feeling stuck, that's what I do. Would love to help you through that. You can shoot me a message over on Instagram, say parent. I'll know that you came ready to rock and roll, and we'll talk it through. We'll see what the right next steps are for you. But this has been the Fit Parent Podcast. Appreciate you listening. From Jeff and Amy. See you next time.